Hello everyone, Anthony Wilson here. Welcome back to Magic Talk after, who knows how long. It's been quite a while since I've had a show up. So we're just going to get right into it, I guess. Today we're going to be talking about some deck lists, some cheaper alternatives than running just your expensive Tier 1 lists. There are some cheap lists that can help you break into some top 8s for Legacy and Standard. We're going to be taking a look at those. We're also going to be talking about kind of a controversial issue that has come up in the Magic world lately. So let's just get right to it, shall we? The first thing we're going to talk about is Legacy. I know when people say Legacy, you think of cards like Force of Will, Vendilion Clique, Dual Lands, Jace the Mind Sculptors, and so on and so on. But you don't actually have to drop a lot of money in order to put up good results in Legacy. We're going to go over, this is the top 8 from Richmond here. We're going to go over the top 2. The first one being Burn, James Allen's list. It's really straightforward, just a basic red list. You've got your Figure Destiny, Goblin Guides, Hellspark Elementals, Keldon Marauders as your dudes, and just pretty much every Lightning Bolt ever printed. No fetch lands, which I thought was really interesting. Just 17 mountains and 2 barbarian rings, and then a pretty basic sideboard. The only thing about his sideboard that I thought was a little odd was he didn't have Smash to Smithereens to help deal with some of the artifact-based list. I talked to him after the event, and he told me the reason he didn't have Smash to Smithereens is because he couldn't find them. He'd put the list together the night before, and really just couldn't find them. So this is what he went with for his sideboard, and apparently it did him all right. So he was able to, I guess, avoid the decks all day until he got to me in second place. I played against him in the finals here, running Glimpse Affinity, which is really awesome. And to be completely honest, he really didn't need Smash to Smithereens to beat me. It's just a really bad matchup all around for me. But what I went with was Glimpse of Nature in the deck. And then ran obviously all the 0 and 1 drop artifact dudes. Also then running Glinthawk, which gave me insane amounts of card advantage after Glimpse of Nature, being able to return like Ornithopters and Memnites and drawing an extra card off of that. Plus, Glinthawk is, not being an artifact, it makes it a lot more difficult for them to deal with him. And as far as using burn spells and stuff like that, they would have to use the burn spells on guys like Glinthawk instead of using them on guys like Vault Scourge, which I would rather have on the table sometimes in certain situations. The only blue card being in the finals was Thoughtcast. I just can't build an affinity deck without it. Just one of my favorite cards. My sideboard was pretty basic. 4 Aetherstorm Canonists, 3 Grudge, 3 Dispatch, 1 Ravager, 2 Tormod's Crypts, 2 Relic of Progenitus. The reason for the 1 Arcbound Ravager in the main deck and the 1 Arcbound Ravager in the sideboard was to help deal with Price of Progress. It's really bad for me when they Price of Progress, and I take 12 damage off of it. So Ravager was actually there to help me ditch some of my lands, and that was also the reason for some of the basics. The basics were that and Path to Exile. I have since dropped the basics and dropped 1 Inkmoth Nexus and the Seed of the Synod. And I think I upped to, I went with 3 and 3, and then some number of City of Brass is what I'm running now, to help with some of the colors, with like the Ancient Grudge out of the sideboard and getting the double black to attach Cranial Plating. And I'm pretty sure I dropped a Springleaf Drum out of the main deck for the second Ravager. So it seems to be working out really well for me right now, but we'll see in the next event. But these are 2 actually very cheap decks to build for Legacy. You don't have to drop a whole bunch of money in order to just break into a top 8. You can see we got there, into the finals with these 2 lists, which are fairly cheap to build. So keep that in mind if you ever want to get into Legacy. So we're going to go to Standard now. Now, when you think of Standard right now, I know a lot of cards come to mind: Huntmaster, Primeval Titan, Geist of St. Traft, Snapcaster Mage, maybe Wormcoil Engine. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case. You can actually still build a pretty cheap deck that can get you there. As you see, this is the results from Charlotte this past weekend. It was won by Mono Red. which is a pretty straightforward list, and I really like it. A lot of cards in this deck producing card advantage. You got your Chandra's Phoenix and Arc Trails, which can net you a pretty good amount of card advantage. Same thing with Goblin Spike Shot Elder, and Grim Lavamancer, also producing great card advantage, and just blowing people out of the water sometimes with Vault Charge, being able to add those extra counters to your Koth, your Shrines, your Stormkirk Nobles, Stormblood Berserkers, whatever. So this is a really good list. I like the green splash for the Kessig Wolfrun and the Ancient Grudges out of the sideboard. Down here on the board, we've got Mana Barbs to help deal with like the ramp decks and control decks. We've got Grudge to help deal with anything that we might have a problem with, any artifacts. So the deck looks really good, really solid, and like I said, fairly cheap to build. You can pick up most of these cards fairly cheap and fairly easily. I know even Koth has dropped off quite a bit price-wise, so this is a pretty good standard deck if you're kind of tight on funds. The second place was Blue-Black Zombies, which looks really good to me. This deck is pretty cool. I ran something similar to this at the Charlotte event, except I went mono black. But I really like this blue splash for Phantasmal Image here, and then I think it was Vapor Snag out of the sideboard. Giraffe's Messenger and Gravecrawler produce like really good card advantages and really good board presence. This is two cards that are really hard to deal with. Synergy with Liliana and Gravecrawler is really good. Out of the sideboard, you have Corrosive Gale, you have Vapor Snag, the Surgical Extractions, Porcelain Legionnaire, which is pretty solid sideboard as well. It's got pretty much the whole field covered, in my opinion. Just really awesome interactions here. Mortapod with Gravecrawler, and then along with this guy making 5/5 demon dudes every turn. So if you're looking for cheap alternatives to standard, you can definitely go with one of these two lists. They're actually really good, really solid, and it's not gonna hurt your wallet too much. So if you'd like to take a look at any of these lists, I'm gonna post this link here. It's the Star City Games deck lists from their open series. You can standard here, Legacy on this side, and just go ahead and take a look at whatever list that you feel like you want to build, and leave your opinions in the comment section down below. The next thing we're going to talk about is this playmat that they're giving away for GP Indianapolis. There's been a lot of controversy about this, about what's going on in this picture. You got these half-naked, I guess they're supposed to be sex slave type deal going on here. In my opinion, I don't want this kind of artwork on a playmat. I don't think I would agree with this, mainly due to the fact that you don't want people outside the Magic community to look at us and say, this is the kind of stuff that we're about. We don't want to send this idea to people that we're just a bunch of nerdy guys sitting around looking at porn all the time and putting half-naked girls and everything. That's not the right message that we want to send out, I don't think. And plus, it kind of gives us an even worse reputation to other females, saying that this is how we want our women to look or anything like that. And it's kind of degrading to some women to think that this is what we have on our playmats. So I don't agree with it being on a playmat. I think it's a great picture and it's really good artwork. But as far as putting it on a playmat, I don't think it belongs on a playmat at all. So tell us what you think. I want to hear what you guys think about this. Give me your opinion. Leave your opinion in the comment section down below, and really tell us what you think and how you feel about this. So that's what I got for you today. I hope this was somewhat informative. I will be posting links to all this stuff for this and this down in the description box below, along with I guess my Twitter handle. I got a Twitter account now, so I'm still trying to figure it out. But I guess if you would like, you can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook as well. I'm on there. I'll leave the links down in the comment section down below, or down in the description box, I'm sorry. And yeah, just let me know what you think. Alright, I guess we'll talk to you later.